Speed up your website load time. I'm Emily Journey, and I've made a list of 4 items to help you speed up your website load time. Okay, let's start with number 1. Clean up your mess. Clean up your website. So we all are guilty of this, right? Or our developers are guilty of kind of leaving stuff behind. So, or we're guilty of uploading enormous images whenever we're publishing content. So go through your plugins, if you have plugins on your dashboard, and evaluate each one. What can I do without? What can I get rid of, right? So get rid of anything that doesn't belong there. There's at least one thing, right? So that's one step in cleaning up. Another thing is, do you have like enormous PDF files? That's another thing I see is really large, unnecessarily large, like the original size PDF file instead of web size. So you want web size PDF files if you're going to have them on your website. And then the best thing to do in terms of image size is prevention. So if you have a lot of large images on your website, let's say almost a megabyte or even more, higher in size, then that's a lot of work to clean up. You have to kind of go through there and actually replace them and get rid of the old version of it and replace those with smaller web size. So you can kind of see like how it's going to be better to not even start there. But even just a few change outs of images to their reduced size can make a huge difference on the website. So even if you just take care of some of those images on the home page, the most commonly visited pages, that can make a really big difference. And that means going in there and replacing them or having someone help you do that. Okay, so that's going to be part of your cleanup work. The second item I suggest after you've done that cleanup is to install a caching plugin. So use some sort of caching tool, and we're talking about not browser cache like Chrome, Google Chrome, or Microsoft Edge. I'm talking about a server cache, right? So something that's related to your server, a website cache that makes your pages load faster. So every website needs some sort of caching tool. If you don't have one, install one. I use WP Rocket. I'm not an affiliate, so you don't have to worry about me being biased in that way. So I do recommend WP Rocket, and they have excellent documentation if you have any questions about how to configure the settings. But the great thing is you can install it, activate it, and just use the default settings, and you're going to get results pretty quickly just from doing that. And then of course, if you have any troubles, you can look at the settings and use the instructions to follow those settings. So a caching plugin is important. If you don't already have one in your collection of plugins, then consider WP Rocket and use the image compression add-on to help with helping your images load faster. So okay, so caching plugin, that's one right there. The third item is make good design decisions with page load speed in mind. So here's what I mean by that. So a designer will often be focused on how things look and not so much on how things perform. So a developer who's really design focused may upload enormous images, right? They may put a slider on your homepage. People don't do that anymore. So if you have a slider on your homepage, consider ditching it and replacing it with a single striking image. And there are 2 reasons to ditch your slider. One is it really slows down the load time of your page wherever your slider is showing up. The other reason is just practical. Nobody looks at your second slide. So people go to your website, they go past the slider and they go because they're looking for something. People see a slider as kind of like, advertising, right? So people just go right past the slider. It's just too much information to process. And you know how it is. We're overburdened with information. So let's give everyone a break and ditch your 16 slide slider. Your website page will load faster and everyone will be happy. So, but maybe not that board member. So the board member that wants the slider will not be happy, but that person hopefully will be outvoted. So also this kind of follows the idea of just because you can doesn't mean you should. So animations, pop-ups, those are kind of cool, and but they also not only slow down the load time of your website, but they also confuse people. So they interrupt the flow. And so if I've got stuff coming in from this side, from that side, and those animated features on the website are not fully loaded until they actually are done animating. So that'll make your page speed score really low. So you want to just get rid of those animations, turn them off. And if you have pop-ups, if it's not really performing for you, get rid of it. If it is performing, consider limiting which pages that it actually shows up on. Don't just have it everywhere. Chat box that comes up from the corner, if you're not using that, or if it's low quality, get rid of it, because they're distractions and they slow down the load time of your website page. Okay, so those are all about making good design decisions. Okay, last one. After you've covered one through three, cleaning up your website, getting a caching plugin, and making good design decisions, then the last item is number 4. So that's hosting. So you may be in the wrong hosting plan. If you've made all of these changes, you've reduced your image sizes, and you've done all of this other stuff, and your site is still not loading quickly, then it's time to look at your hosting plan. So is your hosting plan sufficient for your website? If it's not, you may need to upgrade to the next level. Okay, so that'll be the last thing that you look at. Okay, if you follow all of these steps, then your website page load time, your website speed will improve. If you need any help with this process, reach out to my office.